Hello, my name is PJ Capozzi, Superintendent of Schools for Meridian MCUSD 223. The intent of this presentation is to help everyone understand, hopefully a little bit better, what goes into constructing a school district budget, and do so by explaining what each fund means. The first fund we'll look at is education. Education is obviously the core essence of what we do in schools, but it also is by far the largest fund in terms of revenue and expenditure within our district. Our levy rate currently is 3.48, which has been increased by zero point 0.7 as a result of the referendum. So we have the 3.48 rate for the next 7 years. Also within education, we have a couple other levies that are much smaller built within, including the lease levy and the special education levy. In education is where I choose to put the vast majority of our general state aid, which comes through. I would say anywhere between 100% some years and 85% other years will go into this fund. Additionally, there's some grants that come from the state and from the federal level that come in that also go in to support education. So when we talk about our funds, in our operating funds, which education is one of them, this is where the lion's share of expenditures for the district take place. Just to give some particular details as to what types of things are expended, you're going to have the salaries for administrators, teachers, aides, cafeteria workers, all the retirement and insurance benefits that accompany those salaries, are how we pay for our membership into OCEC, and then things down to our phone service and internet connection, which some people wouldn't generally think would lump in with education. Fund 20 is operations and maintenance. So when you think of all things facilities, that's where your head needs to be. Our tax rate is capped at 0.5, which, to be honest with you, does not bring in enough revenue to support what we need to do in our district. So general state aid, some money from our general state aid is funneled in here. What most districts do is dump all of general state aid directly into education, and the tax levy is enough to support operations and maintenance. Due to our EAV, that is just simply not the case. Other things that go in there are some lease monies and the rental fees, which we receive for both the farmland lease and for use of our buildings. And so what you're going to see is all things building related, from mowers to trucks to salt to custodian and maintenance worker salaries, to how we pay for our water, sewer, gas, and electric. So the expenses that everyone has for their households, we also have for a school district. Fund 30 is just our long-term debt. So it's the way that I know I budget my student loans. It's just something that comes out every month and we have to spend it down. That's basically what our long-term debt is. And so each year, this rate is volatile depending on what we owe. There's a cap on what and how we can borrow money that's governed by many different statutes. Within those statutes, we can operate, and then within that is where we figure out how much we levy each year in order to pay back our debt. Fund 40 is transportation. Again, our levy is 0.2. We receive, that's again not enough to support it. So the categorical in transportation is huge, because that's we turn in all the money we spend on transportation. They say based on everything you spent, you get a portion of this back from the state. This number has been slashed time and again over the years, and on top of being slashed, this past year, and we project for this year, only receiving 3 of those 4 payments. So just again, to use round numbers, these are not accurate. These are just to help you get your brain around it. Say we spent $100,000 in transportation. Our categorical payment could be potentially $75,000 is what they would repay us. And now that $75,000, we're getting 75% of that 75. So in a case like that, we would be down to around 57,000. So there's that gap. So we're using general state aid money again to cover that difference in order to try to remain balanced in that fund. Fund 50 is going to be our Medicaid, Medicare, and our retirement funds for our non-certified employees. So for our aides, bus drivers, etc. Again, we can levy based on need. This is an area this year I've been able to levy less, because this is not an area we should be carrying a surplus. We had a little bit of a fund balance, so I'm able to decrease everyone's taxes a little bit in this area in order to make sure we bring in just enough that we know that we can use what's left of the surplus and hopefully get close to a zero balance, as that's what the intent of this fund is. Fund 60 is really supported for capital projects, so you can bond for it, and or your impact fees for new construction. Since we've had very little new construction in the area, and some of the impact fees were waived. And again, there's a misconception with impact fees that those are waived at the district level. Those are waived at the township level. That we have not had much activity in Fund 60. We have about $250,000 in there, of which we will transfer to do a major building project in the coming years. Fund 70 is working cash. So it's we can levy a little bit for it. Working cash is exactly what it sounds like. We can transfer it from fund to fund in order to address needs as they come up. Fund 80 is tort. So anything loss prevention. We go through an intensive risk management survey every few years, which determines how much we can levy in tort. Our current risk management survey says that we can levy up to capturing between probably $700,000 and $800,000. We've chosen to capture only what we must capture, which this year is about $500,000, in order to try to keep the tax rate down. This is one of the funds that is not capped. So if we have a need in risk management, we can additionally fund it, secure that money, and use it as a district. So this is one area that taxes could increase without a referendum. And Fund 90 is health, life, safety. So we levy for that each year. By law, we have to go out for a survey at least every 10 years to see where our building is up to code and where it's not. Where it's not up to code, we're compelled by law to fix. Additionally, we can have other things looked at to see if they're up to code or not. We are currently behind in the work that we need to do by about 3 or 4 years. So the next big expenditure you'll see is us taking money in health bonding for health, life, safety, so that we can do some really needed facilities work. My belief is that I can be creative in how I structure the bond so that people don't feel a tax increase, and we can still get several $1 million worth of work done for the building. So all in all, this is just an overview of funds to help people understand kind of the basics of School Finance 101. Hopefully this was helpful in helping anyone understand that had any questions. Thank you. Make it a great day.